Unfortunately, this week we start on a rather low note. The death toll in East Africa has risen significantly due to torrential rains brought about by Cyclone Hidaya, which made landfall in the coast of Kenya and Tanzania. The region has never faced a cyclone before. So how did the governments in these nations deal with the emergency? Let's find out in our cover report.
This is Kenya's largest game reserve, the Masai Mara. Rains pounding the East African nation are drenching the national parks in unprecedented amounts of floodwater. Authorities in Kenya had to airlift hundreds of tourists caught in the downpour.
In the middle of the night at 1:30, we woke up from the thunder, and my mom was getting outside to look what's happening, and at the right of us people are jumping over crocodiles, and the security was in panic, everyone was in panic. So we got our stuff and did go to a higher place.
The region is not familiar with cyclones, so when the weather forecasters sounded the alarm about Cyclone Hidaya striking the Kenyan and Tanzanian coastlines, both governments went into panic mode.
Kenya may face its first ever cyclone. This cyclone named Hidaya could hit any time and is predicted to cause torrential rain, strong winds, and powerful and dangerous waves, which could potentially disrupt marine activities in the Indian Ocean and settlement along the Kenyan coast.
As the storm approached, the sandy beaches in Kenya and Tanzania, including the tourist haven of Zanzibar, were evacuated. When the cyclone made landfall, its wrath was evident. More destruction, more water, more desperation. The death toll rose significantly. On the first weekend of May, Kenya reported at least 290 deaths due to the floods, while in Tanzania the number was nearing the 250 mark. For Kenya, its President William Ruto took a more proactive approach, even touring some of the affected areas. They included the town where a dam burst, claiming 80 lives. President Ruto had initially ordered the military and the National Youth Service to forcefully evacuate residents in areas considered dangerous and highly vulnerable. In many cases, villagers defied the government's order, with some even saying they'd rather drown in the floods than move because they do not have an idea of where the government was relocating them to.
Our country will remain in this cyclical crisis for a long time unless and until we confront the existential threat of climate change.
The governments of Tanzania and Burundi were, however, more muted. The Suluhu Hassan government in Dar es Salaam confined itself to just issuing directives and warnings through the country's media. None of the presidents or prime ministers in either Tanzania or Bujumbura made any efforts to tour the affected areas, leaving the regions in a limbo.
I have never seen flooding like this. The water has never been this high. We were growing rice over there. This has been a bad year.
3 people are known to have died and over 100 others were rescued after the weakened Cyclone Hidaya made landfall in Tanzania during the weekend. The cyclone's speed reduced as it approached Tanzania's coastline, but over 20 sailors from Tanzania and Zanzibar were rescued after their boats drifted into Kenyan territorial waters. However, a sailor was killed when huge waves overturned his boat. Forecasters predict the situation may worsen, forcing the region to remain on high alert. World of Africa at 100. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.